Hey, call me Shape. And today I'm reacting to a video titled Tracee Ellis Ross is still in denial. Game over. Let's get right into it.
Last month, Tracee Ellis Ross shook up the internet by appearing on Michelle Obama's podcast, and she mentioned a few things about her life, her career, her aging, and also her relationships when it came to men. And some of the things that she said were very offensive to men in her age group.
And, you know, as much as grief does surface for me around not having children and not having a partner, I still wouldn't want the wrong partner.
That's a great point for people to hear.
I'm not interested in that. You have to make my life better. It can't just be, you know, I'm in a relationship to be in a relationship. So
no, in this case, Tracee Ellis Ross seems as if she's been victimized by the men in her relationships. Men are just too toxic and they are controlling and all of these things. And this is something that Tracee Ellis Ross has said historically about her life. Almost every year or so, she'll talk to some big magazine or go on to some podcast and talk about some regret or chagrin for not having a child or having a family. And then she's always asked this question, and every time we hear this sort of dynamic response that generates a visceral reaction amongst men across the country. But Tracee Ellis Ross is still on tour, talking about her relationships and throwing shots at men. Recently, she was at the New York Times event when the presenter asked her this question.
So you've talked a lot about the cultural narrative that women of our generation and earlier grew up with. You've said, we were sold this narrow story that husband plus child equals woman. Did that narrative harm you?
And then she responded in this tonality.
It limited my understanding of what was possible. It undermined my sense of worth and self and joy until I realized it was somebody else's idea. And I get caught in it still. It's a narrative that the volume has turned back up on again culturally. And I do not believe that my life is unworthy because I don't have children. I do not believe that my life is unworthy because I do not have a man or a partner.
Again, relationships do not define her because she understood that this is self-limiting behavior to put herself in the box and all of this. But she followed it up with a very interesting response.
But I do believe that I mother all over the place. I do believe that I do very valued things in the world and for people that I care about and love.
So, all right, let's get this. This is the cope, y'all. This is the cope. So you mother all over the place. Why would that be any good? If mothering wasn't a good idea, if having a husband and being a mother wasn't a good idea, why are you mothering, right? Why would that be a good thing? You got to just listen to when people talk. They telling themselves, right? They telling themselves. She wants to be the substitution of being a mother by having pets and having friends and young girls that she mentor and ruin their lives, right? Because she's supposedly mentoring the Obama kids, which I can't see how that'd be good for them. But then again, they are Obama kids, so God knows what they're going to turn into. But she's trying to cope. She's trying to find a way where this alternative lifestyle that she's going to live makes sense, is actually valuable. That her organs that were like her womb and her eggs, that meant nothing. Her being a mentor means everything because that's her mothering. Why would you use the term mothering if being a mother if being a mother wasn't the ideal to live up to? Again, so you listen to these women and they're trying to fight reality so hard, they're in denial. And I feel for her because, again, Tracee Ellis Ross was an attractive woman. She has a fantastic body. She grew up in Hollywood. She has money. She has resources. She's had visibility as a woman. I mean, she had all the things a woman would want. Fame, success, a natural big butt. Naturally, huge butt. Huge butt. And you tell me you're going to trade all that for the opportunity. You're going to take the opportunity to become a wife and actually use your God-given gifts to give birth to just mentor people and mother all over the place according to you? No, you wasted your opportunity, you blew it, and now you're trying to find a way to justify how this all makes sense. And ladies, if you want to figure out a way to ruin your life, to sabotage your life, follow Tracee Ellis Ross's leadership. Follow her direction, right? Because personally, I think this is going to be one of the most devastating things a woman could do. But then again, that's just my opinion, right? Who am I? I'm just a guy with a cross on his head. And what do I know, right? If God doesn't exist, if he doesn't exist, I guess anything can mean anything, right? Yeah, they will love you. They will love you believe that. Hey, listen up, Shape Squad. Are you tired of being ignored by women? Well, download my free ebook, Be Attractive and Shut Up. It's going to teach you how to master attraction, build unshakable confidence, and win with women without words. Because chances are you're not ugly. You just talk too damn much. So download my free ebook, Be Attractive and Shut Up, and take control of your dating life right now. Now let's get right back to the content.
Valued things in the world and for people that I care about and love. I take out the garbage. I make my bed. I'm pretty kind to people. I do what is asked of me and what I ask of myself.
Now, in this case, she starts talking about all the good things that she believes that she does. She helps people. She makes her own bed. All of these interesting things. She listens to the people. She's basically trying to supplement the fact that she's not in a relationship with a man. She's a mother of a lot of different people. I mean, she's pretty much tooting her own horn. A lot of people in the audience feel it's okay because it's a-okay for a woman to never conform to the needs of a man. That is socially acceptable. But on the flip side, I was thinking, what if the elements were reversed? And it brought me to this video by a TikTok creator by the name of Mercurial Lover. And her video was aimed at men who don't want to work in their prime.
Now, I'm not gonna lie, not gonna yai. I do feel like a lot of men have become lazy. I'm not speaking on all men, but 30% out of 52 that is not working, 30%, that's more than half, literally stated that they're choosing not to look for work. There's nothing wrong with them. They're fully able-bodied, mind-wise, they're capable. They're choosing not to work. So although I take in all of those other problems, all of those other issues, for that 30% right there, what's your excuse?
Now, if you look at the headline of the video or the description, she says, how do you expect to be seen as a leader when you're choosing not to provide? Now, I find this to be very interesting. On one side of the coin, it is completely okay for women to be devoid of what men are asking them to do in a traditional relationship. But on the same token, if a man does not want to be a provider or does not want to spend his money traditionally taking care of women, this is a problem according to women. And it brings me back to an argument that I had with a young lady many years back. And she told me something that I still feel that is true. She said a lot of the guys who are complaining about the women that they can't get, they just don't have what it takes. And I said, well, what do you mean when you say that? She said, well, if you're a man and you're not getting attractive enough women, you're not getting the women that you want around you, there's nobody's fault but yours, okay? And so what happens is any man that, I see that's talking about avoiding marriage or avoiding dating or avoiding relationships, and this is like around the time of like the MGTOW guys and men going their own way. She was like, these guys are just uncompetitive losers. And that's how women typically see these guys, right? Men who are really competitive are going to be what women need and what women want. And I said, you know what, that is a fair point, all right? And on the flip side, when I hear women like Tracy Ellis Ross try to devalue traditionally what a woman's role is in this society to a man, while at the same time we have women, and even Tracee Ellis Ross would believe that men owe women something, I'm pretty sure of that. I feel that certain women, such as Tracee Ellis Ross, are exactly what my friend considered men to be a few years ago, which is, don't want to use the word loser to be so harsh, but let's just say uncompetitive. Now, if you are really okay about not being married and being in your 50s and all of that, why is it every time that you go on to somebody's podcast, this is a selling point? It's almost like Tia Mowry. If you look at Tia Mowry, nobody really even cares about Tia Mowry anymore as a creator. Tia Mowry's biggest story that she has to offer the public is that she is now a single divorced mom and trying to get her life together after Corey Hardrick. This is her biggest telling story, and one of the reasons why she doesn't probably want to get back with Corey Hardrick and get remarried is because she's probably financially getting so much money off of this chaos that it relates to so many women who have been, become single moms or lose their husband or something like that. This is applicable.
I just think it's interesting, right? Like I look at all this and I say to myself, women sabotage themselves and they want us to believe that they're unbothered by it, but that's all they talk about. All she talks about, Tracy, Tamara, is it Tia, Tamara? One of those girls. All they talk about is how they're independent, they're free, and then they talk about how men don't want anything serious with them. Why would a man want something serious with you? You think that a man should appreciate the fact that you take out the garbage and you make your own bed and you're kind to people. You could do all this stuff while being married as a wife. This is what happens when God doesn't exist in the world, right? When in people's minds, when people could just discredit God altogether, life fails to have any meaning, right? Because if women weren't really placed on this earth to be helpmates, and they're placed on this earth to just have fun and enjoy themselves, doesn't that seem chaotic? And they think that, and they think I'm religious. No, it's religious to believe that the highest good on earth is to feel good and have pleasure and enjoy yourself. It's called hedonism. It's called hedonism. It exists already. That's your God. Satan is your daddy, and so you're doing his works. Right? So I think to myself, and I'm like, yo, these women who are attractive, like, it's a Tia Lowry. I want to say, I think it's Tia. I don't know, man. I forget. But one of those girls, she sabotaged her married life to just come to the streets. And then she realized the only thing that men wanted from her was just a smash. Yeah, why would a man try to wife you after you leave a perfectly good home because you felt like it wasn't serving you anymore? What do you want it to serve you? It's not supposed to be serving you. Men were, see, it's so interesting, right? When they take God out the picture, and it flips on its head, right? It's no longer that women are supposed to serve men. It's now men were supposed to serve women. For what purpose? What are we serving you for? Oh, for your pleasure, your happiness, your enjoyment. Doesn't that sound like a narcissist? That we're just supposed to serve you? At least when you understand a marriage and men and women being together as one in a unity, you understand that the woman's supposed to help the man to help mate. But the idea is to help meet. But the idea is that the man's supposed to go out there and work hard and to provide. Like, I'm still doing all the things a husband's supposed to do. Go out there and become great. Go learn a new skill. What's the purpose of skill? What's the purpose of me learning a new skill? I'll tell you right now. Mastery. My goal is to go out there and master my craft. I'm doing YouTube. I'm trying to master my craft. That's the point of it. It's not supposed to be just me doing YouTube to have fun and try to go get some hoes and buy a bunch of cars. No, master this shit. Become good at talking on camera, making videos, editing videos, making thumbnails, editing thumbnails, right? Reaching an audience, building a community, putting out a message out there. Becoming a leader, leading other men. That's all part of the mastery. I'm not just out here, man, I'm going to just take all this money and blow it on myself. No, I'm actually taking time writing books, making courses, building a website. I'm doing all this stuff because it's my purpose. I'm not sitting out here thinking, man, I'm going to make all this money and just go out there and do a bunch of drugs, smash a bunch of girls. We see what that gets people. Look at Diddy. We see what that gets people. That degeneracy doesn't get you anywhere but behind bars. They want you to do that. They'll sell you the lie that you should just chase happiness and excitement. And when you do that, you're going to end up in jail like Diddy. Being a freak over freak-offs. Imagine that, being a billionaire successful and you're taking that time and energy just to do perversion. Why would you want somebody to pee in your girl's mouth? Like, it's just so odd to me. But this is what happens when God doesn't exist in Hollywood. When God doesn't exist in the minds of people. Because he does exist. You don't believe in God yet. You will believe in God, right? But you leave people to their own devices. They become their own God. And when you let them become their own God, perversion Hedonism is the first things they chase. And this is why I'm comfortable wearing a cross. I'm comfortable telling people I believe in God, because what I'm telling you is that I have fundamental principles that I abide to, that my life is in servitude to. Whereas you guys are the true narcissists. You trying to serve yourself. But no, you help people. You mentor people. Yeah, all right. You'd be better off being a mother, a good mother, and reproducing and multiplying. You'll be much better doing that. Because that's what someone did to you. Someone gave you life. Why don't you pass that on and give someone else life? I'm just saying. And you don't think Tracee would love being a mother? You really don't think she'd be happy being a mom? Come on now. She regrets that she did it, and now she's trying to cope and act like, oh yeah, this is all part of the plan. My ass.
So when Tracy Ellis Ross is out here talking about, I'm 50 something years old, I never gotten married, I don't feel like this should, really fit me. And then for the other women out there that fit into this narrative, then, oh, okay, well, this is okay for me. Here's the reality though. It doesn't really matter to guys who really are going to be on point. Here's the reality for women out there that are what a man wants and wants to be with. You're going to get the guys providing for you. Okay. That's the end of the story. If you are what a man wants, and if you are what a man needs, and if you're a valuable lady, it doesn't matter how many men in their prime are not working anymore, because you would not care about that. It wouldn't matter. Like for me, I'm from the Black community like most of you. And you got your single mothers out there, and you got your twerkers out there, you got the chicks out there that you would say are doing the excessive booty clapping and all of that, and with the tattoos and extraordinary weaves and all of this. You want to know what? For me, I don't care. It doesn't matter. All right. It doesn't matter at all. I don't care, because it's not my life. It's not my experience. I've worked so hard in my life. I don't even encounter anything like that. I don't even know what that's like anymore. Okay. Shout out to Erica Williams. You guys may know her here on YouTube. Beautiful lady. I love working with her, and she's from North Carolina. And we were talking about some of the issues in the Black community when it came to men and women. She was confused. She was like, really? I never grew up like that. My family is not like that. So this is new to me. I've never experienced it. And that is some people's experience in Black America. Not everybody has an experience of struggling or just getting by. Like Pocket Watching with JT, his father was in his life, was a great entrepreneur. And some of you guys have those same stories too. A lot of people don't have that, but some of you guys do. And the same thing is with this. If you are a woman and you are doing what you're supposed to do and you're competitive, you'll never have to worry about meeting all the toxic people, because you're going to meet the right person. Okay. If you're a woman and you're really a lady that a guy is really glad to be around and you add value, you'll never make a video talking about, well, why are you guys not working? Why are you guys not being leaders? You won't have to worry about that. You may struggle here and there, but ultimately the person that you want to get with is going to find you. And just like most rich, successful men, they don't have a problem finding a woman to get onto their program, okay? Because the women are on their program are also come with their own program, which is easy to get along with and easy to deal with and all of that. And that's the case with most successful men who are Tracee Ellis Ross's age or older. Nobody is even considering her or worrying about her issues. And even the women who follow her, or even women like Tia Mowry. This is why Tia Mowry is still struggling trying to find a date now, because when you're successful and you got your stuff in order, male or female, you're not worried about that. It's not your experience. It's only your experience when you're bitter, when you have nothing to offer anybody, when you're entitled, when you think about yourself. And if you listen to Tracee Ellis Ross, it's always about how she feels. Well, you know what? I feel like I offer this and I feel like I offer that. And the reality is we live in a world where it matters how somebody else feels about us. We're not the only one in the world. We don't make the rules. Certainly we can make our own decisions, but our value is not just us alone. It's good to have self-worth. It's good to have self-value and believe in yourself. But there's also something that needs to be said about what somebody else thinks about you, especially people that have some level of power over you.
Yeah, because you're not just what you think about yourself. You're what the world thinks about you. Right? No man's productive because he believes he's productive. He's productive based on the world standard. Right? It's all relative. Right? In the land of the blind, the one-eyed man is king. It's all relative. Okay, so productivity in the modern times for a man looks different than productivity looked 300, 400, 500 years ago, right? Same thing for a woman, right? So, and this is why I think in the ancient times, I hate to say it this way, but women had no credibility back in the day. This is why when Jesus resurrected, and people don't believe in the story of his resurrection, But one ways we know is true is that the first people that witnessed his resurrection were women. And if you study the historians back then, they would say that if you want to make a lie, you wouldn't use women as your first eyewitnesses, because back then women weren't seen as credible eyewitnesses back then. Okay? And I think it's because if you listen to a woman talk, she's going to think about her feelings or emotions. So you're going to put that above everything else. And we know feelings and emotions don't mean nothing, especially in front of God. God don't care how you feel. God is not trying to appease your feelings. You might go through stuff, you might feel miserable, but God ain't there trying to make you feel better. He tells you not to be miserable. He tells you not to worry. He tells you to avoid your feelings. He tells you to ignore your feelings. He wants you to ignore the flesh. Ignore the flesh. This is why when you fast is one of the greatest miracles, because fasting says, if I ignore the flesh, I'll put the spirit before the flesh. If I ignore the flesh and the fleshy wants and its fleshly desires, I'll actually heal myself. Right? When you fast, you heal yourself, you lose weight. It's actually a miracle, right? And people don't think about it that way, but it truly is. When you abstain from the desires of the flesh, like when I gave up alcohol, when I gave up drugs, I've realized like, wow, not only do I don't need them, I'm stronger without them. Right? Like I box for cardio. And I box, because I want to stay dangerous. I'm going to keep it real with you. But when I gave up smoking MJ, when I gave that up, bro, my cardio went through the roof. Like I could, now I can hit the bag much longer. A lot of people don't know how hard it is to fight for a minute straight. A minute straight is just like, for most people, they don't have the cardio for that. I hit the heavy bag for 3, 4, 5 minutes straight. No problem. I take breaks as a matter of, routine, but I don't have to, because I gave up on some of my fleshly desires, which allowed me to be more immortal than I would normally be, right? More superhuman by like listening to the spirit, right? Listening to the idea that, I can't give in to fleshly desires, because if you believe in Christ, if you believe in the Bible, the three evils, the three devils of the world is the world, the flesh, and the devil. And the world has to do with, what Tracee Ellis Ross is going through right now, trying to, live a life concerned about what the world thinks about you. She's so concerned about that. She's fighting back. She's like, oh, the volume's turned up. That's one of the devils, trying to live to the world standard. I don't care about the world standard. She's trying to say something similar. She don't care about the world standard in a sense of she don't care about the world standard if the world standard is based on Christian Judeo principles. That's what she didn't care about. She didn't care about that. Principles from the Bible. Oh, yeah, I don't have to be a wife. That's not my purpose. My purpose here to enjoy myself and help others and be a good person. What she defines as good, right? Not what the Bible defines as good, what she defines as good. The flesh, addiction has to do with the flesh. You give the flesh anything, it's going to want more of it. Anything, a cupcake, cookie, MJ, weed, cocaine. My dad used to always tell me, because I had my father in my life, he used to always tell me, if you do heroin, you're going to love it, right? But the whole point of him saying that was, it's no reason to do it. Pleasure is not a reason to do something. Look at all the pleasure that Diddy got chasing freak-offs, right? All the pleasure he got being perverted or whatever you want to say. At the end of the day, did it really serve him? Now that he's fighting for his life, he's spending millions of dollars. He had to give Cassie $20, $30 million. He has to pay his lawyers millions of dollars just to defend him from going to jail forever for committing an egregious crime, which, by the way, I think he's being wrongfully accused of something he didn't do. You know what I'm saying? It's clearly not a RICO. This is clearly a domestic violence case being trumped up to a RICO, right? But the government can do that to you when you open up the doors of perversion and stuff like that. But if you live on a straight and narrow, if your gate is straight and narrow, you could avoid all this. I'm telling you, the worldly desires of flesh could have some very egregious, very satanic desires. You got to avoid it. And then the devil, the little voice whispering in your mind to tell you to do evil things. Those things you got to avoid those three devils. The three evils. Right? And right now, I think, someone like Tracee Ellis Ross is coming to the reality of it is she could talk to a lot of people trying to sell everybody on this idea that nobody should have kids and kids don't give nobody purpose. But when she went on Michelle Obama's podcast, Michelle Obama got kids. And what I'm saying? She's trying to go and spread this message that, don't reproduce, don't multiply. You know what I'm saying? That doesn't define you. Then why do you have, why did you have... you've been taking... It's so funny to me that women don't see a purpose in the fact that they believe... You see, It's so fascinating to me. You bleed every month, right? Once a month. But you still don't believe that your reproductive cycle has anything to do with your purpose. You could just deny that. The fact that you could just ignore that. I think that's why God gave women periods. So it could stick in their mind that your reproduction is of core importance to you. That you become a woman when you start to have a period. You become a woman when your breasts grow. You become a woman when your body is designed to carry a child. Prior to that, you're a child. And I like what someone once told me. They say there's 2 stages in life: childhood and parenthood. Not adulthood, childhood and parenthood. Because parenthood is when you really become an adult. Yeah. So I say this to say that, guess what? Tracy Ellis Ross never experienced parenthood. So she's still in childhood. She's still a child trying to convince the mom and dad, I'm good enough. See, I can handle everything on my own. She's still in that phase of life. And I don't have any children myself either. But I'll tell you one thing. I'm living my life in such a way where I could become a great father. And I'm building myself. I'm working on myself to become great. To become a man full of purpose. To be led by the Lord. This is why the Bible is so important to me. This is why God's so important to me. Because to me, without God, I have no purpose. I don't believe I'm just here for a good time. Here to take out the trash and make my bed. Like Tracee Ellis Ross, goofy ass believe. I don't believe it. It's not true. We have a bigger purpose in that. And until people wake up and see it, we're always going to be in this landslide. We're always going to be here. You know? Anyway, I could go on and on about this. But I just think that Tracee Ellis Ross is a testimony that don't follow the devil. This is what you're going to get. You think you're going to be young and desirable forever because you have money. Money can't buy you desirability. I don't care how much money you got. You can't compete with a woman half your age, okay? Tracy can't see that. You can't compete. No man's going to really want to be with you besides the fact that he could use you for clout and for money. How do you like that now? And yeah, I'm not saying people won't smash. People will smash and they'll enjoy you. But a man wanting to smash you is not really confirming your value. It's actually confirming your lack of value. If a man just wants to hump on you and bust nuts on you and stuff like that, that ain't no confirmation of your value. Ladies, don't follow this. Don't follow her precedents. Don't follow her standard. You're going to be just as miserable like her, coping and in denial that the game is over. It's over. There's no going back from here. Nobody's coming to save you, Tracy. Nobody. Anyway, like the video, subscribe to the channel blowing up. I appreciate you guys. Check out some of my other videos, and I'll see y'all over there.